Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do Daredevil 225 by Marvel Comics. This is a fun one. Let's dive in. Okay, so we have here Vulture, Adrian Toomes, here at, I don't know, he is hiding, I believe on the rooftop, and I mean, he is thinking. He says, I am strong, I am powerful, I am smart. Yet again and again I am defeated by my inferiors. When I chose to call myself the Vulture, I do not know appropriate the name would be, how appropriate the name would be. For I must now live off the dead. Okay, that's a little bit unusual narrative that I'm, used to from being, reading the Vulture. I mean, the character Vulture. I mean. So he flies away, and he is looking for jewels, etc., and money. And then we see Matt Murdock here, I believe in New York or whatever it is, and he's visiting a grave, the grave of Heather Glenn, who was once his girlfriend, I believe, and she committed suicide. So the taxi driver says, "Hey, I'm gonna wait here till you get back." And then when Matt goes to her grave, he senses something. He senses he senses the Vulture digging up, I don't know, her grave for jewels, etc. And, well, of course he doesn't like that. So he turns into Daredevil and attacks him. And he says, "You sunk pretty low this time. You sunk to the bottom. Robbing a grave?" And then Vulture says, "What else do you expect me to do?" I like that. So they're having a fight, and I must say the fight is pretty intense. I mean, from when the time that I'm being introduced to the Vulture, there's always something about it that I liked. This old guy, looking like a vulture, dressing like a vulture, doing crime, etc. I believe he was a perfect fit for Spider-Man, but unfortunately, just like with a lot of older villains, they are being thrown into obscurity, or they are much weaker than the main protagonist. And at one point, they are just at equal footing. Yeah, he gave Spider-Man a run for his money at some times, but now I don't know. He's just being a third-rate criminal. Maybe he was always that, but some writers could turn him into a very interesting character. I mean, for instance, here he says, "That's what vultures do." "Not to Heather Glenn, not while I'm around," says Daredevil. "You shouldn't have hit me, boy. That was a mistake. Really bad mistake." And Daredevil says he has the voice and the skin of an old man and the punch of a wrecking ball. "See, boy, these wings don't only make me fly, they make me strong." And I must say the kinetic action looks really nice. I'm not. Who is this? Right? Who's the artist, by the way? Let me double check first. Just give me a second. Let me see here. Yeah. Okay. It's written by Danny O'Neill and David Mazzucchelli. Not sure who he is, but I'm keeping my eye out for that guy because I'm going to show you a couple of pages that looks really good. And so he says, "Radar indicates gravestones behind me, beat of wings coming towards me," and then he is moving out of the way because, Daredevil's still nimble, fast, and Adrian or Vulture crashes into a grave, and Daredevil holds onto him, and then he gets punched in the face. And look at this, how this punch looks. I mean, it really looks like he's hurt him, like actually someone punched someone in the face. It looks pretty cool. But then Daredevil holds onto this gravestone. But Adrian, his wings are too powerful, and he actually, look at this pose, very menacing, and he throws Daredevil into this grave, and he's really foggy right now, and he says, you can think you can hold me down? You're a fool, boy." He's impossibly powerful. "You like making me bash into a headstone, boy? I got bad news for you. I like that kind of thing too. Been seeing you around, boy, if you're unlucky." But then he gets his belly club and shoots his cable. But then this is happening because, well, he Adrian, Vulture says, nah, that's not going to happen. And he crashes Daredevil into the tree and he flies away. And and he has, Daredevil's a little bit confused because he thinks, wait, Vulture is normally a Spider-Man villain. I have really zero knowledge about him. Why is he doing this? And then he has the feeling that he's going to see him again soon. So he goes to the building where his office is, and then Foggy is there, and he says, "Hey, Foggy, what's going on? Why is that man removing our names from the door? Because this isn't our office anymore, Matt." So basically, Foggy is really, a little bit pissed about Matt, that he's not there and he's, taking trips. And while the firm is falling apart, they have no clients anymore, a couple of charity cases. And Foggy is, very disappointed in Matt, right? As you can see here, facial expressions are really cool. Art is really nice. And he says, hey, I need to have some time alone. I'm going for a walk and etc. He says also, I'm sorry. I trusted you, Matt, ever since you were school kids, and I trusted you, depending on you. You let me down. Is there anything I can do? Nothing. Not a darn thing. Look at the shadows, man. It looks great. And then Matt feeling pretty guilty about this, and then he, learns a lesson by rethinking of the past about a lesson that Stick, learned him. He says, think you hot, huh, kid? The word kid comes a lot here. And he says, well, even if you was twice as good as you think you are, you still be stupid. Want to know why? Because you think fighting's the whole ball game. It's only half. The other side of you, the side that's got them good marks in law school, that's as important as the fighting side. You ever forgot that, punk? You're in big trouble. Basically, it's not only fighting, it's not only being Daredevil, but also your private life is very important. Balance, if you will. And so he said, he noticed that Foggy left with his jacket, and he uses his radar power, which I really like. And he noticed that Foggy, used the elevator to go to the roof. And, Foggy's here being depressed and all that. And then skipping a few pages. So Daredevil comes here. Matt changed into Daredevil. And he says, I heard what you're saying to yourself, Nelson. Better take time to cool off. Hey, I wasn't talking to myself. I wasn't talking to... So earlier he has a conversation with a guy about life and death, and how life is important and death is also important, etc. Well, it was not other than Daredevil. Daredevil, what I'm saying. Vulture. And he says, rustle of wings, musty odor. You might well as well come out. We meet again, eh? Nasty coincidence. Ain't no coincidence, boy. That had a Glenn. She offed herself, same as her old man. I knew her old man, the industrial back then. And then there was that Elektra. She died and took a whole lot with her. And all of them are connected to Nelson and Murdock. So I figured this is the right place for a Vulture to be. Pretty smart. Yeah. Actually, yeah. We forget that Adrian Toomes is a, inventor? If you can call him that. And he's pretty smart. He's not just a guy in a suit, he has brains. And strong too. Look at this facial expression, man. This looks freaking awesome. And all of this here with the flowing of the wings and the attack looks cool. So he says, I wouldn't go pointing fingers, boy. I get the feeling you ain't exactly healthy yourself. Let's cut the chit-chat. What do you want? Back in the graveyard, you bothered me. Kept me from what I'm getting kept me from getting what I went after. That burns me, boy. And maybe I'll do something that makes sure it won't happen again. I gotta tell you, boy, you reek of death. Might be time for you sampled some firsthand. Really awesome. Great writing. I never knew that, Vulture could be, more vicious and than what, I always thought he just was a normal criminal, that run into Spider-Man once in a while. But this writer, how do you say, makes Vulture way more interesting by giving him some kind of a very appealing and, although he's evil, of course, personality that I would have liked to see more in this character. Fortunately, we don't see much of it, but yeah, it's cool. And look at this here, he takes him to the air with the cool backgrounds of the city and with all the rain and the kinetic, and look at this Foggy's face. It just looks great. And what's wrong with me, says Daredevil. I stood there and like a lump and let him take me. Is he right? Do I have some sort of a death wish? No, he says. And he says, oh golly, Daredevil's falling. So he's falling and there's a fire escape. And he uses the fire escape to catapult himself back into the air. And this is some kind of a bird. And Daredevil senses something about the bird. But we leave it at that here. It's not important. So they are crashing into this apartment. And again, look at these visuals, man. And this how it's portrayed. It's very kinetic, very fast-paced. Really love it. And how do you say? Vulture is kicking Daredevil's ass, man. He's making him pay. So he says, I underestimated him. He looks old, frail, but he's strong as a herd of bulls. Why don't you give up, boy? You want to lose. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been so easy knocking you off the roof. And Daredevil says, I was worried about Nelson, momentarily distracted. That's the only reason you could have get within yards of me. I like the way they talk, right? It's you can really feel that this is a different era of comics writing, using other sentences and words. Pretty nice. I like that. Okay. Bullpen Bulletin, also nice. Although I never read it, didn't bother. So, you can see here that Vulture is ripping into these doors of the lift, and Daredevil's diving in, and he has the plan. So, because the air is the home of the Vulture, so he's going underground, where he has more of a chance fighting him. Vulture is diving after him in the next panel here. And he rips open the door, and look at this face, man. It looks cool, right? He looks really like an old man Vulture, looks also like some kind of an actor from, 80s action movies. That's besides the point. And then the lights turn off, and then Daredevil says, I like darkness. I'm not here, nor there. A while ago, you said secretly I wanted to die. And then we have some fun shit here. You were wrong. Cowards want to die. I'm no coward. I'm proving it to you and to myself by beating you. You and everything you represent. The death and the decay that eat away at man until he surrenders. The horror that pulls you down into the pit. Well, I'm not the surrendering kind, mister. You got that? I never give up. And he beats him to when he, basically defeats. Also, I did see that for now. You see that? He holds his wrist so that he can go nowhere. And he beats him unconscious. And Daredevil says, his limbs tremble. Well, it's not Daredevil saying. But the narrative, his limbs tremble. His breath explodes into his throat. He is exhausted. Outside, he feels the warmth of the sun. And he knows that he is standing in the light. Awesome! This is just awesome. That's the end of the book. Well, we have a page with the bird that turns into this guy and that leads into the other issue. But this is great. This is just typewriting, unlike that Superman annual that I did yesterday, the trash. I mean, you see the difference, what I'm talking about? If you can, you don't need all these millions of characters with no explanation. Just do one simple story and expand to that, have some tight writing around that, and you could do one issue with, 28, 32 pages and have some kick-ass action comics, like this. It's great. It's just fun, cool art, great narrative, great ending, simple. I mean, not simple, but, it's just fun. Let's leave it here because I want to ramble. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment, subscribe to my channel and all that jazz, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.